Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX, and it's time for the daily video. We've got a couple interesting things to look at. The market has done some weird stuff today, so we're gonna see how that goes. You can see that everything has sold off. We were actually pretty nicely in profit on all of these markets today. Gold has started to tank, oil is starting to tank. Um, and definitely the Dow and S&P are down a good chunk. S&P is down about 14, 13, 14 points for the day. The Dow's not looking so good either. We've got a little bit of news today. Consumer confidence came out much better than expected. We had Draghi speaking a little bit on earlier in Germany. And then we had some retail sales for Canada, which was actually a pretty big mover on the Canadian dollar. We'll have a look at that. Coming up tomorrow, we don't have anything significant in the UK session tonight, and then we have new home sales for the US tomorrow, and then we have New Zealand announcement several hours after that. So we'll kind of see how that all goes. So we're right back at it, guys. We're right back at this interesting area here that the euro keeps trying to do something with, but for some reason can't seem to pull it off. Not totally sure why that is, but the euro keeps trying to come off of this 23% fib right here. This is from the low of July to the high of September. We have the 23% fib right here, and we've talked about this several times. We had a nice close above the 200-day moving average, and we saw a nice little rally there. And then it's right back down to this 23% fib. And if we can get a close below the 23% fib, we should have a pretty good chance of getting it back into the 38% fib, which is around 127, 40, 50 area. But it's having a heck of a time doing much with that whole area. So you can see that today we saw, it hit the 23% fib back here yesterday, bounced off it just a little bit. Here we are back at it again. We had some nice long wicks, and it came off it, and it's just right back at it again. So the last just recently, the last couple of hours, the euro dollar has really kind of crashed down from these highs down here, about 60 or 70 pips, back down to this 12900. We're currently sitting at 129.10, and we're going to see what this euro dollar does. Excuse me, but if we can get a close below that, and at this point now we have a new candle coming out just in a couple of hours here on the daily chart, and so that could be significant. But what I think we can also get is a 4-hour close. If we get a 4-hour close below that 12900, that should also be enough to get us down into that 38% fib. So 12900, get a 4-hour close below this. Let's just see if we can finally get there. We haven't had one yet. We've come pretty close. We've been right on that number, but just a nice clean clear close below 12900, somewhere in the 128.90s would be acceptable. Then that will hopefully start to take this pair back down. And so it's going to be all about this level. So here we're going to watch once again on this 12900. If there's going to be some fibs, if there's going to be, or excuse me, some pin bars, some sort of bounce, something here off of 12900, and that's where we should be able to take this back up into 130 fairly easily if we get a good bounce this time, or we're going to be just headed right back down into that 127.50 area, which I think there's a pretty good possibility of that. So that's kind of what we're looking for, and that's how we're going to trade this euro dollar, and it's just going to be a lot of waiting and seeing and see where this thing goes. Pound dollar is just getting really choppy up here. We're going into 2 weeks of just being in a channel, so I'm getting less and less interested in the pound dollar. There is some support down here around 161.50, 60, 70-ish area, but not interested in this pair in the least for now. Euro yen, same kind of situation. This euro yen has done very well. So from the low of July, just like the euro dollar, to the high of September, this one actually was able to close below the 23% fib, and we talked about this quite a bit last week and saw some nice trades on that. Came down, hit that 38, and it bounced. So here's that 38% fib right there, and it bounced all the way up here. Nice 89, almost a 90 pip bounce. But here it is right back down to that 38% fib now. And so that being the case, as we're sitting on this 38% fib, we could be headed down as low as the 50% down here, which is now major resistance. Remember this level right here. This was the big breakout. This was Draghi's speech. This was all of that stuff. And we saw a big breakout of this channel, which was 98. Oh, basically 9,900. Basically 9,900. So we're we're very likely headed into that target now. If we get a break below this 100, this is kind of the 100 area, 100.1520, all of that general area is going to be important to watch. That's that 38% fib. Again, it's at about 100.13, but there's going to be, give or take a couple of pips, quite a bit of support here. So just kind of be careful with that and watch it. But I think we do have a nice little run in the works. Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar has just been tanking the last couple of hours, and it's kind of working on this little head and shoulders pattern right here. We sort of have a messy looking head and shoulders, but it's coming in here. So we start getting below about 103.75. This Aussie dollar gets interesting. This starts to get back below that 23% fib of this big run again, and that puts us very potentially back down into this 38% fib, which is about 102.20 on the Aussie dollar. So watch this area, 103.75, 103.70, 75, right in that general area is the level to break. And if we do break that, it's going to be time to go major short on the Aussie dollar to take it down potentially into that 38% fib. So keep an eye on that coming up. Aussie yen was setting up very nicely, and it is coming right back down as well. Now we're starting to get, bigger confirmation of this head and shoulders pattern as well, and it looks like we potentially could get that break of the neckline. We'll see what happens, but this Aussie yen is ran up and gave us some nice little runs, and here it is coming right back down and trying to break this neckline area about 80, the 80 general area there. So we're going to keep an eye on this, and we're just going to see where it goes and what it does and so on. But if we do get a clean break of that, we could be looking at this thing all the way down into the 79.75 area once again, which was the low of just a couple of weeks ago. And we can see that it's pretty consolidated, pretty choppy on this daily chart. So there's not a lot of clear direction there. And then one last but not least that I want to look at is we're coming into some moving averages on the dollar CAD. Not one that I trade a huge amount, but it has been good pretty consistently the last couple of trades we've looked at. And so the dollar CAD is looking interesting. We had a big reversal down here, and it came up, and it's just coming into some of these long-term moving averages. Look at it on the 4-hour chart, and we had this nice little reversal candle right here. This was just confirmation that this 97.50 area was fairly significant as we came down and just really bounced off that, and here we are back up again. I would like to, we're just a little bit beyond this area, so I would like to probably look for some entries close to this area here, maybe 20 to 25 pips away from this 97.75, somewhere right around the 90, or excuse me, 97.50. Good grief, there we go. 97.50. So I'd like, somewhere around 25 pips from this area, around the 97.75, 80 area, to go long and to trade against this low right here. This is a pretty strong level, and I think we've got a good chance to continue to stay long on the Aussie or on the dollar CAD against this 97.50 low. Again, to clarify, 97.50. So that'll be something to look for. I think we've got some good trades coming up there. And all of these pairs are just kind of all over the place. Gold is really super choppy lately, but everything else is just kind of all over the place. And I think we've got some good chances for just, some little turnaround, some little reversal trades, a couple of different things like that. So stay tuned and keep an eye on Twitter. We'll have more details coming there, but these are going to be some great setups to watch for. So best of luck, guys, and I will see you in the chat. And again, just keep an eye on Twitter.